The crypto market is absolutely exploding on the news, and the Ethereum ETF is likely to be approved tomorrow. What does that mean for the rest of the market? Does it mean we're finally going to get an alt season? I'm going to let Wick show you on today's Trading Alpha what the charts are saying is coming. You don't want to miss this one. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Wick here. I'll be doing the Trading Alpha show myself today. So you're stuck with me. And there's a lot been happening in the markets. I'm sure you heard from the intro there, and I'm sure you know already with everything happening with Ethereum that it's likely to be approved. The ETF is going to be approved most likely. We shall see. And of course, a lot of the assets were ripping up just before as well. So let's dive into it. Okay, here we can see the weekly chart of Bitcoin. But before we get to Bitcoin here, let me pull up something else, and we'll just start with some framework. Okay, so I'd like to start here, and this is the ISM. Let me make it a little bit larger for you guys. So for those of you that don't know, that have not been following me or not familiar with the business cycle or the liquidity cycle, we believe that everything goes in accordance to the liquidity cycle when you're talking about financial markets. Why do I bring this up? Because I'm trying to give us an idea of where we are in that liquidity cycle and what we can expect going forward throughout the rest of the 2024 year. Okay, so this is the liquidity cycle, and you can see here, whenever you start to pick up, right, if you look at the years like 2017, when we had that big bull market in Bitcoin, the ISM seems to be correlated with Bitcoin, right? And 18 came, we had that drawdown, we had COVID happen over here, and after COVID, we had that big bull market, right, in 21, right? And as you can see, it goes very much in accordance to the business cycle, and then we had that drawdown as well, and of course, now we're making moves, okay? So if we had to analyze this with Trading Alpha layered over this, let's look at how accurate it is, right? And I'm gonna do this real quickly so we can move on to the other charts, but I wanted to set the framework for where I think we are in this liquidity cycle, also in the Bitcoin cycle, okay? So starting left to right, we can see here anytime we're below a red track line, it's bearish. And of course, the alpha dots are very, very popular because they give us the earliest signal that the trend is changing. As you can see here, it's red, and we went through a little downtrend on the liquidity cycle or the ISM. Then it turned to green dots right here above a green track line. Here's the bull market. Again, shading, red dots, bear market, green dots, bull market. And you can go all the way here and see just how accurately we can actually predict these cycles, okay? So where are we currently? That's what we all want to ask ourselves before we get into the other charts. Well, you can see here that we've hit a low here, okay? We've rebounded up, and we've just now printed our second green dot, okay? Not only have we printed green dots, but we also have this shaded area. You'll see that throughout our charts. What the shaded area means is that a violent extreme move is coming, and we have to be ready. And a lot of times those green dots or red dots can give us an indication as to which way it'll break out. So we are seeing also a shaded squeeze at the bottom level here, as opposed to always having them at the top level over here before the bear markets. We're now having them on the bottom level here. So very much suggesting that we have started the liquidity business cycle. And if this is the case, guys, Bitcoin's going to keep going up for quite some time. Okay, it goes in correlation with the business cycle. So now that I'm done with that, let's get away from this chart and jump into the crypto charts. Oh, before that, I also want to point out something else real quick. As you guys also might know, the dollar index is also very, very important when we add some more layers to our framework. Okay. Whenever the dollar is going up like this, we see Bitcoin and a lot of risk assets have a lot of pressure on them, okay? And conversely, whenever it's going down, we see a lot of pressure relieved, and a lot of these assets like Bitcoin, Solana, the stocks tend to go upwards, okay? So as we can see here with Trading Alpha, these blue turquoise R bars are reversals, bullish reversals to the upside. You can see how they work pretty well. And then we have these yellow bearish reversals to the downside. And I'm pointing this out because we currently had a bearish reversal right here again, right at resistance. And what I'm thinking happens now is that we have started to lose these green dots, okay? That means that the trend is now weakening, and I would love to see us pull back, mean revert back to the bottom of the range. If that is the case, we can expect pressure to be relieved and some upside action in our risk assets, okay? Now let's jump to the fun stuff. Now that I've set the framework that we're in a very, very bullish environment, okay? From a macro perspective, guys, this is the time to get exposure to risk assets, and it's not too late in my opinion. Okay, switching to Bitcoin. Let's start with Bitcoin here on the weekly chart. I'm gonna enlarge it for you guys. And let's talk about this. Okay, so this is the weekly chart, and here we see the last cycle of Bitcoin that started in late 2020, right? And it started from what? A squeeze shading. This happens in our stage 1 basings. Whenever we go consolidated, we get these squeeze shadings. That lets us know that a violent move is coming. As I've said before, here we have our breakout arrow to the upside. Once we cross over resistance with green dots, this is called our stage 2 uptrend. For those of you following me, you know that this is very much my framework that I subscribe and believe in. And when we hit those stage 2 uptrends, this is what you're trying to catch as a trader or an investor. Okay, again, these are the weekly charts. This went from all the way from October 20 to the highs here in April of 21. So it's quite some time. Okay, so this is very much an investing chart on the weekly time frame. Okay, after that, we did lose dots right here, and it was time to end the cycle, call it quits, and put these profits on the books. Okay, after that, we went through a little stage 3 sideways basing pattern before we fell. Then we had another squeeze shading, breakout to the upside. You can see how well these breakout arrows work. And when they start to pop, you simply just follow the green dots when we go parabolic. And of course, they stop right here. That was the end of the bull market, okay? Then once we break below this red track line, and specifically when the track line turns red, this is a stage 4 downtrend. In stage 4s, you catch no long positions, even if you get faked up by a green dot. The whole time we stay under this track line in stage 4, there's no buying, okay? But what tends to happen? You tend to start to form a little base, start your consolidation again, just like we did in stage 1 over here, but we start printing bottom signals now. Okay, these bottom signals let us know that a potential bottom is being put in. Okay, but now what happens? We need confirmation for these bottoms, and the confirmation is for a trend to start to signify you were correct, that bottom is confirmed. So we actually look for that in the earliest signal of a trend, that I've ever seen, which is the dots. The dots turn green here. You get a green dot after a bottom signal. This is in a stage 1 basing. We're expecting stage 2, and this is where the bull market takes place. It's also when I got long on social media and let everyone know that I think that the bull market is starting. Okay, we went from that stage 2 uptrend. We have 4 stages in a cycle. We went to stage 3 here, a basing pattern, which can break either down or up, but we knew that the bull market was starting, so we're waiting. We get another squeeze shading, guys. Do you see how this reps out so often at the beginning of cycles over here and here? We're waiting for a breakout arrow. We get that breakout arrow, and this starts the parabolic move. Whenever you're in the parabolic move, you simply hold as long as green dots are printing, okay? But now I want to point something out, guys. I very much believe that this part of the cycle right here, right, the best part of the crypto cycle is not this. I believe that this is premature. I believe this was a great stage 2 uptrend to catch, but I believe the best part of the cycle is still to come. And if you're judging by the ISM and the liquidity index, that very much goes hand in hand, right? And it's synergistic to let us know that historically, yes, we should have a much more parabolic move starting. That's what we're waiting for. So again, catch the squeeze breakout arrow. Green dots held the whole time until we got rejected here at the very, very top of the market. Okay. Now we're getting a green dot reaction off of the track line, and we're trying to break through this resistance. I'm a very, very firm believer that if we don't do it now, we will do it in the next couple months, and we will start that next phase of the bull market. Okay. So I just wanted to give you guys some framework and give you a higher time frame context with Bitcoin. I know a lot of people are, getting in and out of positions. Emotions are everywhere. And when that happens, just always take a step back, revert to the weekly chart, and catch your footing there, right? Instead of staying on that daily chart or the 4-hour or 1 hour when things get crazy, revert back to the weekly. It'll often give you a lot of clarity. Okay, so that's it for Bitcoin here. Let's move on and just say that I'm very bullish and I'm waiting for us to break above this zone here. Once we close on the weekly chart, right, and this is what I mentioned in my tweets as well, we're waiting for this weekly bar to close. Everything in between on the dailies don't matter, okay? We're just waiting for this to close, and if it does happen to close anywhere in this area, that'll be uber bullish, okay? Now let's talk about Ethereum, okay? The talk of the town, okay? And we're gonna start here on the daily chart. Let me go ahead and enlarge this picture here, this chart. And what do we see? Okay, so now let's stick to our framework of how cycles work. In my opinion, you get your stage one basing pattern, a consolidation, and this went way back. Actually, this was a little deviation we had here, but most of the price action is in this gray area. We're waiting for a breakout. Okay, when a breakout happens, we're waiting for green dots that not only go above the track line, but they also go above this resistance. Once they do, and we have green dots, and the track line turns green, guys, this again is your stage two uptrend. Okay, so we actually caught this pretty well on my tweets and on the shows. Now after that, we go through a little bit of a stage three basing pattern before we start the downtrend. Right, downtrend resistance gets retested, and eventually it breaks down. But for us, the red dots started here, and once you're in stage two and those red dots start, if you hadn't already taken profits once the green dots ended, this is your signal to say, hey, you're kind of behind the curve. You should at least be taking 50% of your profit off the table. We start going into stage three basing pattern. I would define the basing pattern with a slight deviation. Let's take this off here. I would define that as the stage three with a little bit of a deviation, okay? Once we break below that, we're definitely, if you didn't think we were in stage four before, we definitely are now. You avoid all of this downturn, but eventually it starts to base again. Do you see how these stage ones and stage threes work? Here is your basing pattern right here, okay? In my opinion, it's right here. All of this price action right there, that's your basing pattern. We're waiting for stage two breakout. Now, guys, look at how easy this is, right? It happened in the previous on the previous charts with Bitcoin. We start to get the squeeze shading, we get green dots, and we get a breakout arrow, okay? Once we broke above this track line on green dots, this is actually one of our setups anyways. But to get that green arrow confirmation, breaks above this level here, this is your go sign, and we're off to the races. What was interesting to me is that I think it was something like 3 months. Let's see here. Starting from March of 24. Yeah, 3 months of drawdowns got eaten up in one day. That one day that ETH just popped up was just absorbed all of that stage four. Okay, why? I said that day that I was looking at the charts, I was looking at the volume context, and I said to everyone on the tweets, this looks like some insider trading. This looks like people got knowledge ahead of time and that this ETF is going to be approved. I said that on the first day that it popped, and now we're talking about the ETF being approved this week, okay, which is insanity. It's insanity. And what is my opinion on this happening? I think it's going to change the whole landscape, and I've said this from the very day one. If ETH gets an ETF approved, what that means is you're going to see more filings later on for other assets like Solana and things like that, in my opinion, that are going to go down the pipeline to try and get ETFs as well. This is how we marry TradeFi and crypto. As much as people don't want that to happen, that is the natural course for us to gain adoption. Okay, so this is great news. It's really great news. And to think that a Bitcoin ETF and an ETH ETF could be approved in the same cycle is absolutely bananas. Okay, so I'm very excited about what's to come. I don't think it's stopping. If we want to talk about the ETH TA right here, it's very clear. You can see here that we had rejections, multiple rejections. I don't want to even count all these rejections right here, okay? Very clear resistance here on this line right here, which we have now broken above on the daily and closed above on the daily, okay? And retested as well with a green dot reaction. Guys, this is super bullish. The next test is the all-time highs closing above this level. If we get here and we close above this level, the bull market will really explode, and I'm expecting there to be a really great alt market. Okay, I also do think that we saw a little bit of liquidity stolen here with the ETH news. We saw things kind of get a little bit of weakness, my other assets like Solana and those altcoins, but they're popping up again, right? I think this whole market is going to lift together. I get a lot of questions of, hey, John, should I flip now from Solana into ETH? In my opinion, absolutely not. I haven't touched any of my positions. I took off 1/3 of my ETH and went into Sol. I do think that Sol catches some tailwinds of this. And of course, as I said, I think it won't be long until we see filings for more assets in the crypto universe. Okay, so super, super bullish on ETH. Let's now bring this chart down and move to the next one. But just to kind of recap here, guys, super bullish. This is going to be end up retesting the highs. Whether we have problems there or not, eventually we will break through it. And judging by the crypto cycle, the macro cycle, the liquidity cycle, all of this is ready to explode. I believe that there's not a better time to invest in this 2024 year. And that's going to run, in my opinion, at the very soonest till year end. Okay, I think it'll run past there, but at least till year end, this thing is going to explode. Q3 and Q4 of 2024 for alts, meme coins, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, it's all risk on. Okay, moving on to one of the meme coins, Pepe. Let's talk about Pepe here. Let me enlarge this chart. We can jump into the technical. So Pepe, we're looking at this on a daily time frame. Okay. And again, I go over all my setups because it's how I do TA, and it's very important that you guys understand these setups. So here we have a few bottom signals printing, but of course, none of these bottom signals get our green dot. Okay, and that's what we're waiting for. Again, what does the green dots tell us in relation to the Bs? It lets us know that the bottom is in because the trend is now trending up on the dots, which is the soonest signal we can identify with a trend, and it's giving confirmation to that bottom, and it's making that bottom confirmed. Okay, so our go signal is actually when we get a green dot after B. This is an actionable signal, especially if it breaks above the track line. Okay, that is the go signal. If you wanted to have more probability in your favor, you could certainly wait until the resistance is broken as well. It goes into your what? Your stage 2 uptrend. And when these stage 2 uptrends, only when they go parabolic, okay, meaning that it's got a slope that's completely upwards, that is when we follow the dots and make sure we don't get out as long as those dots are printing. As you can see here, consecutive dots end. They stop right here. This should have been your signal to take profits on Pepe right there, get out of the move, and then we go into what? Our stage 3 basing sideways pattern. Let's go and identify that again. I hope you guys are learning something today. This is very, very valuable. This over here is all stage 3. Can you see how the majority, 90% of those bars are in this little box? That's letting you know that after the stage 2, you get stage 3, and this is where you become cautious, right? You at least take 50% of your profits off the table if you haven't already done so from the dots ending, okay? It wasn't long after that that we went through a little stage 4 downtrend, okay? And of course, we even got signals then. You got the red dots starting for the first time since stage 2. I mean, guys, dots ended here, red dots start here, squeeze shading, letting you know a violent move is coming while the trend is getting worse. Now we got red bars. This should be screaming to you guys to get out, okay? So what do we have? We have a breakout arrow to the downside, and we put in a bottom right here. It wasn't long until we start consolidating again. Can you guys pick out stage 1? That's stage 1 right there, baby. All of those bars are in there consolidating, okay? What do we get after stage 1? We look for a stage 2. We don't automatically buy because stage 1s can go on for days, weeks, months. I've even seen them go on for years. But we know that this cycle is popping. And what do we get? We get a green dot. This is the first green dot, and it does pop above a track line that goes from red to green. Okay, this lets you know that the trend has started, and this is an actual move. When you get consecutive green dots above a track line, even if you don't get one of the other setups, okay, this is a trend setup in itself, and you simply just hold long. One of the setups here when you get this without the Bs or the breakout arrow is to hold long as the bars are printing above a track line, okay? Nevertheless, we go and test the track line. We get a green dot reaction off of the track line, another one of our setups. Guys, this is all in our instruction manual. So when you join Trading Alpha, if you join, make sure you don't miss that email, welcome email, because it has all of the instructions in our instruction manual. Goes over this. So we get a green dot reaction, another long signal, and look, we're off to the races. Okay, test the track line again, green dot reaction, and now we start to go parabolic. Okay, so what do we do when we're parabolic? Again, not when we're doing this, but when we go into these parabolic moves, we simply just hold as long as the green dots are printing. And let me give you some explanation behind that. Parabolic moves cannot last long. They tend to fade, right? And using your naked eye, you can't tell when that's fading. You can't tell when we're having a little shakeout like this. This probably would have shaken you out, or whether the trend is still intact. The best way to do that is via these dots. And once they stop, you will know that this move is over, just like you got over here, and you'll be able to capture all this profit. So that's where we are currently, guys. We're in this parabolic move. I expect it to keep going until we lose these green dots. And Pepe is looking beautiful at all-time highs. The great thing about all-time highs is in these levels over here, you had a lot of people that might have bought the top here and waiting all this time. They feel sick to their stomach. They're losing money. They just want to get out of break even. So eventually when we hit those levels, that's called supply. That supply is being absorbed, okay? However, when we break to all-time highs, there's no one from before that's waiting to exit. That supply is non-existent. There's no overhead resistance. So this is a very, very bullish chart, and it started to become bullish ever since we started to close over here, had a little reversion to the mean, and now we're clear sky. So I'm very, very bullish on Pepe. I think things like this, these meme coins, you know, they're very volatile, so you have to watch out. But I think a lot of things will see at much higher prices come year end, okay? But I also believe that meme coins, you trade meme coins. You do not invest in meme coins, okay? These are things that you look into swing trade, which is a midterm time frame, or scalp trade, and you want to make sure that you're getting in and out of these things, unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, okay? So that's my take here on this, and I'm going to speed up because if I don't, I'll be running out of time. They won't let me do the show again. Okay, so moving on to Render, another one of my favorite coins, okay? Heavily invested in this one myself as well, and I believe that we got people in right before this move over here when we saw the squeeze shading. I got in, I think, right here. Breakout arrow happened, broke above into the stage 2 area. Whenever I draw these lines above it is stage 2. We retest the track line, good reaction, and we go parabolic and hold as long as the dots are printing, okay? The dots did actually stop printing over here. I did not get out of this position. Render is one of those assets that I believe is a really fundamental, great project. Could be wrong, but I believe there's going to be much higher prices come year end, okay? And it's also not Bitcoin as well. As far as where we are, whenever we broke into these levels, I got on Twitter and I let everyone know that if we can't close well above this 13 mark around here where these wicks are, that I expect this to be a sell event, and that we should see price action kind of draw down. I did not expect it to draw down this much, but you know, hypothetically, this is drawing right to a track line and testing the track line exactly on the close. I mean, you can't get a better reaction, and also set up is a green dot reaction off of a track line like this. And now what are we doing? We're now testing this supply area. Now that I've taught you guys what supply is, right? You're testing the supply left over from before. And what we really need to happen is the same thing I've been saying when we were here. We need a close above 13. I would not get into Render at all, even though I own the asset. I would not get into this unless it closes above this supply zone. Okay, if it closes above the supply zone, guys, that's uber bullish. And again, Render is one of the projects that I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe will be much higher year end within this macro framework of the liquidity cycle. Everything is on point. Okay, so moving on to the next, Bonk. Okay, Bonk is driving everyone bonkers because I did not get into Bonk. I was not set. But it pumps really, really well, right? And if we look here on the weekly chart, this is really all you need. You have red dots here, the green dots start, you get a green track line, it goes way up and comes down, right? But overall, the bars measure the macro trend. On a macro scale, how is the trend? The dots measure the micro trend. So together, synergistically, they're a great view of the trend. But you can see here, the bars on the weekly have not stopped, okay? However, I don't believe in investing in these type of assets and meme coins. So I would look at lower time frames to get out of these moves once they pop, okay? But where are we now if we're just looking at the weekly chart? Well, we're breaking above this resistance here, okay? And we do have 4 days to go. So it's up to you, all right? This is a good probability move, but it becomes a higher probability move whenever this bar closes above resistance, because that would make a higher close, okay? Technically, that would be a great sign. And it looks like what Bonk is trying to do. Okay, again, I'm not in this asset, but it does look very, very bullish. You know, this little test looks very bullish to me. And again, I would wait for this to close. And again, if it does close in this area, in this region anywhere, that would be a great sign for Bonk. Moving on to my favorite coin of the cycle. Okay, guys, I've talked about this to my heart's content. So if you've been following me, you know how I feel about Solana. Okay, it's my biggest bag of the cycle. So there's your clarification there. Looking at the 6-hour chart, I want to talk about some of these setups, right? So we did see here, I want to talk about these Bs. This is my favorite signal right here. You can see here, this B did get a green dot, and that's where the move started. After the move started, here's where the dot stopped. This is where you should take profit. You get another B, 0 green dots. You get the squeeze shading, letting you know that a violent move is coming. And then what do we get? We get a bottom signal plus a breakout arrow. You couldn't have a better opportunity or visual cue to go long, okay? You have the green dots confirming the Bs and a green dot on a breakout arrow from a squeeze shading. Now, what is a squeeze shading, guys? I haven't actually mentioned this. It's a volatility that's being bent up that needs to be released, okay? That's what it's measuring. So then we get our breakout above resistance, green dots, and we're holding them all this way. Okay, the green dots actually stopped right here. This would have been your signal to take profit on this trade and wait for the next setup. In my opinion, the next setup comes when we break resistance. Simple as that. We break through this level, guys. Green dots, that's a go signal. Okay, so that's what you do if you're looking at Solana on a scalping time frame. Okay, on a weekly time frame, it looks great. Again, I expect this to be one of the best performing assets come your end. Okay, and when I say best performing assets, I mean within its class. Whether you're talking about high caps or mid caps, of course there will be some small caps that will outperform, but again, most small caps are going to do horrible, right? Because they're small caps and we don't know what the project does. Moving on to WIF, another meme coin that's done really, really, really well. Looking at this, guys, you know, I'm bullish on a lot of things. And I think that WIF will do really well. But if you're looking at my framework here on the daily chart, this has gone through a stage 2 uptrend. Okay, it's broken down, and now we're basing here. Okay, whether this is a stage 3 basing or a stage 1 basing, I do not buy stage 1s or stage 3s. Okay, I want a stage 2 breakout, which I believe happens stage 2 part 1 above this level, and then the real stage 2 part 2 parabolic phase above this level. We have to be patient. But I promise you, there's a really high chance of WIF getting there. The cycle, I would be a little bit patient. Even though we are printing our first little green dot here and the track line is turning green and starting to curve upward here, I am a little bit worried about this resistance. As you can see, we even had a bottom signal here, get us into a good move. And then we were much higher here at this resistance, right? This is where we started to fade. So that is the area of importance. If you're in WIF, you know, make sure you pay attention to this area. You know, we could pull up here and reject, or we could pull up here and break through. And the longer time we spend above this area, the higher probability is that we'll push to the next level. Okay, so I am targeting this area in the short term, but the more important thing is the reaction to that level. Okay, we don't assume, we react. That is how trading works. Okay, moving on here, let's talk about Phil. I wanted to give you guys another setup that I think you should watch out for, right? Because that's what the show is about, not only teaching you and educating you, but also giving you some setups to watch out for. So what do we have? We have a stage 1 basing pattern starting from left to right. This is how you learn. We have a bottom signal printing within a squeeze shading, okay? Again, guys, when it's basing sideways for quite some time and you get a bottom signal within the base and a squeeze shading, right? That lets you know to pay attention. We've got the track line here. We definitely want to break above the track line before we get bullish at all. We start to get green dots. This does confirm the B. This would be your entry signal. This would be your actionable signal right here, okay? Again, breakout arrow. Here's another actionable signal, okay? So 2 in 1. You can't get higher probability than this. And then guess what happens? The track line turns green, okay? Letting you know that the momentum is now in your favor, on your side. And we go through a stage 2 uptrend. Going through the stage 2 uptrend, what do you notice? We're in a squeeze breakout. The dots stop when? Let's follow it. Looks like they stopped right here. So that's when you take all of this profit off the table, right? Which is what we did. I played Filecoin, okay? I think I took 50% of the profit off the table. We start going through that stage 3 basing pattern. I hope you are starting to see how when you marry a cycle analysis with indicators and high probability setups, that's how it should be done, okay? We do get one little fake out signal here. Here's a green dot after a B, okay? But it gets rejected and we never see these bars turn green, okay? We also see it rejected after that, and that's why using stop losses is so important, because I want to be completely clear with you guys. TA is amazing. It's how I've made my living for almost 20 years, but it is not absolute. You will get fake outs, and that's why you always set a stop loss to make sure that you keep your losses small and you ride your winners, baby. That's how trading works. Anyways, we go from a stage 3 to stage 4 downtrend. We could have known this. Look at all the red dots. Look at the red bars. Look at the track line. It's now turning red over here. It's going sideways. This is not stage 2. And in stage 3, we're always thinking about taking profits and taking some risk management and making sure that if we do have a lot of profits, we book them, okay? You go into a stage 4, boom. Then look what happens, guys. Another stage 1 basing. Now, if this is confusing to you, we do teach this in our Discord. If you are a Discord member, we've got videos there for you guys that goes over all the stages. And here is your stage 1 basing pattern, okay? So in stage 1, what are we looking for? We're looking for bottom signals to print, and then we're looking for some green dot confirmations, which we are getting them, okay? So this is an actionable signal. However, I would say this: if you guys want to put the probabilities in your favor, a true stage 2 breakout is when we break above resistance. I would wait. Even though we're getting those bottom signals, this is why I'm bringing it to your attention, because I want to see if we break above this resistance. If we do, you got your signals, you got your squeeze shading. I'm sure a breakout arrow will come next. And if it does above these levels, I think we'll see much higher pricing, and we'll see Phil come alive again, Filecoin come alive again. Lastly, guys, I want to say that if you do like these indicators and you are learning this and you want to take advantage of trading alpha and use the same setups that I use, we do sell this. And if you want to find out where, just go to the comment section there. You will see the link to our website. If you go there, we are running a 10% off sale. Once you locate the alpha bundle at the site, make sure that you get the yearly. It's got the goodies in it, all the premium indicators. And on the left-hand side, when you're checking out, there is a place there for a discount code. Type in 10 off sale. Okay, all one word, 10 off sale. Once you hit enter, it'll drop the price substantially, and that's how you get trading alpha indicators. And you also get access to our VIP Discord, where I'm at every single day. You can tag me, I'll answer all your questions, okay? With that said, guys, here is my Twitter handle. If you want to follow me, you can catch me at 0hedge_. Make sure you don't forget that underscore. And then I update you guys with a lot of my charts. Other than that, you can catch me next time on Trading Alpha. It's every Wednesday at 3:30 or 2:30 Central Time. I'll catch you next time, guys. Take care. Cheers.